Some husbands do not need village people, oh. Just give them one loud friend, one foolish advice, and small ego, and they will carry their two left legs and walk into trouble. That was Collins. Collins was not a bad man. He was hardworking, neat, and he loved his wife Laura. But his problem was simple. His head was strong only until another man started speaking with confidence. Once somebody opened their mouth and said rubbish in a very bold way, Collins would first frown, then nod, then carry the nonsense home like a fresh bread. Laura knew this about him. That was why anytime Collins came back home from outside, looking too serious, she would first of all ask, "Who advised you today?" Because in their marriage, some quarrels did not start from home. They started from outside this. That particular evening, Collins closed from work, tired and slightly hungry. His boss had stressed him. Customers had annoyed him. So when he passed by the barber shop near the junction, he decided to enter and trim his hair and chill a little before going home. That was where trouble was waiting for him. Lamba was inside that shop, sitting like chairman of Married Men Association, even though nobody appointed him anything. He was holding his phone and talking loudly while the other men listened. My brothers, let me tell you the truth. Eh? A wife that respects her husband does not allow him to wake up and walk to the dining table for breakfast. No, now, is he a tenant in his own house? The men laughed. The barber shook his head and said, Lamba, you have started again, oh. No, I'm serious, I'm serious. A real wife serves her husband in bed. I'm talking about tea, egg, chicken, fruits, juice, everything complete set. That is how my own wife treats me, oh. Uh-uh. Colin sat down quietly, but his ears were standing like antenna. The barber smiled. Show us this your royal breakfast, we want to see. Lambert did not waste any time at all. He quickly opened his phone and turned the screen around to show them. Oh my god, the tray on the phone was too fine. Chicken wings were shining. Eggs were sitting like important personnels. Samosa was shining brightly, arranged neatly. There was juice, fruit salad, tea, and one small flower beside the plate, as if breakfast has gone for photo shoot too. Ah, that one loud. The men shouted, see enjoyment. Na marriage be this. Then Collins leaned closer. What he saw was marvelous. The tray looked rich. The food looked beautiful and peaceful. Even the cup looked as if it has never suffered a day in its life. Lambert swiped again. See another one now. I tell una say na every day my wife dey give me breakfast for bed. He swiped again. See another one. Nobody asked why the same tray kept appearing with the same flower. Nobody asked why Lambert's wife was never seen in any of the picture. The food was so fine. And when food is fine, men can forget investigation. Lambert continued. A man works hard. He faces bosses, traffic, fuel price and foolish customers on the road. Then he will now come home and still be dragging chairs before eating. No now. A husband is a king. That one entered Colin's body and sat down. King. Immediately, he remembered Laura's breakfast that morning. Bread and tea on the dining table. Simple bread, simple tea, no chicken, no juice. No, the bread was not even toasted safe. No flour standing beside the cup like a rich auntie. Before, he had eaten it with peace of mind though. But now, after seeing Lambert's tray, the same bread and tea started looking like disrespect and insult to him. By the time the barber finished his own hair, Collins had changed. He paid, stood up, and walked home with the face of a man who had discovered suffering late. At the compound, Mama Yabo saw him first. Collins, why are you walking like somebody that remembered debt? Then Mama Danke looked up from where she was sitting and said, Leave him. That is man thinking face. Once a man starts thinking like this, one woman will soon suffer for advice which no send anybody go give him. Collins greeted them and entered his flat. Laura was in the kitchen, arranging things for the next morning. Eggs were in a bowl, bread was on the counter, a small list was even beside her phone. She looked pretty tired, but she still smiled when he entered. "Oh, welcome. Your food is on the table." Collins looked at the dining table. Before that day, it was just a dining table. But now, because of Lambert's basket mouth, the portable looks like an evidence of disrespect. Laura noticed his face and asked, "What happened?" Collins dropped his bag slowly and said, "Laura, see, from tomorrow morning, I want my breakfast served in bed." Laura turned. "Served where?" "In bed." "For what?" Collins lifted his chin. "Because a husband deserves respect." Laura stared at him. "So now the dining table has offended you?" "That is not the point." "What exactly is the point then?" "A real wife treats her husband like a king." Haba. Laura wiped her hand with a towel and said, "Who told you this one today?" Collins couldn't talk at first because he already knew that his wife knows him. He now said, Lambert said it at the barber shop. His wife serves him full breakfast tray every morning. Chicken, egg, juice, samosa, fruit, everything now, you know. The moment Laura heard Lambert's name, her face changed, but she coordinated herself immediately and nodded and said, "Oh, okay. So you want the full package?" Colin said, "Yes." "You want king breakfast?" "Yes." "You are sure?" "I am sure." Laura smiled and said, "Okay, no problem, my king." Colin smiled back, thinking he had won. He didn't know Laura had just opened a special breakfast department in their marriage. The next morning, Collins did not leave his bed though. Normally, once he woke up, he would drag himself to the bathroom, brush his teeth, and come to the dining like a normal human being. But that morning, he sat upright with two pillows behind him, waiting like a king whose throne was bedsheets. Laura then entered with a tray. There was bread, tea, fried egg, fruits, fried plantain, arranged very neatly. It was not exactly hotel breakfast standard, but it was enough beauty to deceive a proud man. Colin's face opened at once. "Ah!" He adjusted himself. "Now you understand." Laura smiled and said, "Good morning, my king." Those three words entered his head, eh? Ah, and removed the little sense that was managing to survive there. He picked up his phone and started taking different angles of pictures. One from the front, from the side, and then one very close to the egg. He even shifted the plantain a little so that the tray would look fuller. Laura watched him and said, "Are you going to eat or you want to open photography studio?" Collins ignored her and then he posted the pictures on his status. Respect is sweet when a woman understands her husband. Laura saw the caption and almost laughed, but she controlled herself because she had a plan. When Collins finished eating, she carried the tray and sat beside him with her phone. "My king." "Oh yeah, come and see something first." Collins leaned closer and Laura opened one fine breakfast picture online. There was chicken, sausage, pancakes, juice, samosa, and one white napkin folded like a swan. The food looked as if it traveled abroad and returned with accent. "You see this one?" Laura asked. Collins nodded slowly. "This one is closer to what Lambert showed you, Abby?" Yes, Collins said, trying to sound rich. Laura nodded. "Exactly. What I made today was just beginner respect. If you want proper king breakfast, we should not disgrace the throne, no. It's money." That one touched Collins in the exact place Laura aimed for. Eh, so what do you need?" Laura didn't answer immediately. She took one small notebook and started writing like a serious accountant. Eggs, sausage, butter, pig milk, chicken wings, flour for pancake, oil, fruits, better serviette, small honey. Collins looked at the list and said, "All these ones for breakfast." Laura opened her eyes innocently and said, "My king, you asked for royal treatment. Royal treatment cannot be using Roadside budget now. Eh? Collins swallowed hard. How much? Laura tapped her pen on the paper and gave him the total. 50K. 50 what? Ha! 50,000 now, but it will cover some days. That some days was very important though. It made the bill sound responsible. Collins looked at her, looked at the list, then remembered the status he had already posted. How could a whole king start pricing sausage like a man buying akara? No, now. He sent the money, and the alert entered Laura's phone, and her heart smiled. I don't enter. She didn't waste time. Oh. Out of the money, she bought breakfast things. She also bought food items for the children's lunch because her children cannot be watching their father eat like a governor while they carry dry bread to school. Then she kept the remaining money aside and called it foolishness tax. The next morning, the tray looked sharper. Pancake joined, sausage appeared, juice stood beside the cup like security, and Collins almost clapped. Ah, my wife, this is what I'm talking about. Laura bowed her head a little and said, anything for my king. Collins took pictures, ate, and posted again. When there is respect at home, a man faces the world with peace. Ah, by afternoon, 3 people had replied with fire emojis. One man even wrote, Chairman, teach us your ways. Collins walked around with his chest forward. But when lunchtime came, his pockets reminded him that pride no dey buy rice. He checked his wallet and quietly brought out groundnut and pure water. His colleague looked at him and said, Collins, is that one lunch? Collins nodded, I am eating light. His colleague looked at the groundnut and said, this one is not light. Oh. This one looks like emergency exit. Collins pretended to laugh. At home that evening, Laura showed him yet another grand picture. This one had grilled chicken, fruit salad, toast, and smoothie. My king, see this one. Oh, this is premium kingly respect. Colin's eyes twitched. Laura, we just bought things yesterday now. Yes, my king, but this one is different. This one has smoothie and chicken. Oh. Is tea no longer enough? Laura looked shocked. Tea is fine for normal husbands. But you, my guy, you are a king. That sentence stood up and saluted his ego. Oh yeah, how much? He asked weakly. Laura brought out her notebook again and made a list. Yogurt, banana, gas money, extra oil. Collins sent another 50K. But this time, he moved slowly because even his thumb knew something was wrong. Money was just slipping fast, fast. Meanwhile, inside the compound, people started noticing the movement and seeing his status. Iyabo saw his status the other day and asked him, Collins, are you doing breakfast or naming ceremony? Even Brother Kalinda, who was sitting near the tap and drinking garri from a paint bucket, sighed and said, Oh, if marriage respect is this expensive, I rather remain single and disrespect myself in peace. Oga Collins, you dey try oo, I dey see your status. Collins forced a smile and rushed inside. Laura used part of the new money to make the tree more beautiful. She used another part to sort house needs, and then with the remaining money she had been keeping, she gingerly ordered a small hand mixer and 2 other kitchen tools she had always wanted to buy for her kitchen work. When the delivery man came, Collins asked, What is that? And Laura smiled, My business tools. Which business? She looked at him gently and said, The business of keeping the king's breakfast from embarrassing the palace. Collins nodded because that answer sounded sweet, but something about his bank account was beginning to cry. That night, he opened his bank app and stared at the balance. The money had reduced with speed. It looked as if somebody had poured hot water on it. Laura entered the room and saw his face. My king, are you okay? Collins quickly locked his phone. Yes, I'm fine. Laura nodded. Good. Tomorrow we should try hotel-style omelette with chicken filling. Collins turned slowly and said, Chicken filling? Yes, I saw one online, very classy. He opened his mouth to talk, but no words came out. Laura smiled and switched off the lights. That was when Collins began to understand that the throne was soft though, but the bill had iron and concrete inside of it. For the first few days, he enjoyed the kingly breakfast with his full chest. Every morning Laura entered with tray, calling him my king, serving him food as if he was going for visa interview. Collins would sit up, take pictures, and eat slowly, and then post proud captions on his status. At first, my people, it was sweet though, but this sweetness was starting to bite his pockets. By Wednesday, his transport money was limping. At work, when his colleague Femi called him to buy rice, Collins would shake his head and say, I am fasting. Since when? Since today, my guy. Okay, oh. Collins started drinking only water. I mean, the king had eaten breakfast in bed by 7 a.m., but by 2 p.m., the same king was begging saliva and water to act as soup for him. At home, Laura was very calm. She bought kitchen breakfast items, sorted everything she needed to sort, and was keeping her side money for herself. By Thursday morning, Collins was secretly praying for bread and tea, and Laura entered with pancake, sausage, egg, fruit, juice. My king, I added pancakes today. Collins smiled, but his spirit was down. After eating, Laura brought out another notebook and said, We need honey, more sausage, eggs, and gas money. Collins blinked. Honey again? Yes, my king. Pancake without honey looks stranded. Must there be honey? Laura looked at him innocently. My king, but Lambert's picture had honey now. That name closed Collins' mouth immediately, and he sent the money. Another 50k. At work, he hid one small gala inside his drawer and tried to eat it quietly, but Femi caught him. You know the fast again? Oga, mind your business. Collins frowned. That evening, Collins went back to the barber shop to recharge his pride. Lambert was already there, showing the men another breakfast picture. My wife did it again this morning, he said. Respect the sweet, oh. The men hailed him. Collins looked at the picture and swallowed. I mean, the tray was fine, but somehow it looked familiar. It was the same kind of chicken, same kind of fruits, same unnecessary flour. But still, he ignored the small doubt that was trying to creep out. When he got home, Laura showed him another picture online. My king, see this one. Very simple and classy. I love it. The tray had chicken wrap, fruit salad, smoothie, egg, cake, shawarma. Colin stared at the phone and said, Laura, where is the simple in this tray? Show me. She smiled and said, It's just the arrangement. The arrangement is simple. Soon another list came out. Chicken breast, yogurt, bobo tigo. Colin sent the money with slow motion. Hell, this guy was dying inside. Laura looked at him and asked, My king, are you okay? I am fine, I'm fine. Good, because we have to maintain the pride of this palace. Well, Lambert's birthday week was when his royal breakfast kingdom finally collapsed. That evening at the barber shop, Lambert was in his usual seat, wearing dark glasses indoors and talking like a man whose wisdom had no volume. My wife already knows my birthday is coming. This year, the breakfast tray will be serious. Maybe turkey go enter am. The men hailed him, and Collins sat there quietly. He wanted to hail him too, but his account balance don't reduce his voice to the lowest barest minimum. Then Brother Kalinda, who had just come to charge his phone and collect free gist, looked up and said, Oga Lamba, which wife are you talking about? Everybody became quiet. Lamba laughed loudly and said, which kind of question be that one? Brother Kalinda scratched his head and said, Oga no vex o, but is it not your wife that packed out last year? Yes now, my cousin knows her elder sister. They said the woman left you since because your mouth was bigger than your provision. Hey! The barber dropped his clipper. Collins turned. Lambert adjusted his dark glasses and said, Okay, shut up. that one a family matter. Brother Kalinda nodded and said, exactly. Family matter we no get family. Oh, everywhere scattered with laughter. But Lamba was sweating. One man pointed at his phone and said, so who has been serving you breakfast in bed, Oga? Lamba opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The barber snatched the phone playfully and checked the famous breakfast pictures. He zoomed in, swiped left, swiped right, then started laughing. Wait first, wait. This is the same food tray now. The men rushed closer. The barber continued. It was the same chicken, same juice, flour, napkin. Lamba, you only changed angle. Oh, everybody started laughing at the fact that they let this man deceive them. And that was when the whole story came out. That 1 year earlier, on his birthday, Lamba had saved up enough money and ordered one expensive breakfast tray from a fancy food vendor. Instead of eating with peace, he took pictures from every angle like he was snapping pre-wedding photos with egg and sausage. Front view, side view, center view, tray near the window, tray with his hand entering small. And since then, he had been using those same pictures to deceive men that his wife was serving him like a king every morning. Meanwhile, in real life, Lamba's daily breakfast was okpa, sometimes garri and groundnut, sometimes bread and coke, and sometimes biscuit and water. Oh, there was no tray, no flour, and no packaging. It was just hunger wearing perfume. My parties, Collins was frozen. He couldn't move or where. So he had been emptying his account to copy a man who was using birthday pictures to do marriage testimony. Oh, he felt shame. From head to toe, shame wore him senator, rumpled one. When he got home, he did not speak much. And when Laura looked at him once, she already knew that sense had finally found him. She brought out the envelope and placed it before him. What is this? Collins asked weakly. Well, this is King Breakfast Department. Inside it were all the receipts, all the list of things she had ever bought for the breakfast tray. Even the small servants had receipts. Because Laura was not playing with evidence, Collins added everything together and sat back. Oh, the amount was wicked. Laura folded her arms and said, my king, fake standards are never free. Somebody has to pay for them. And this time around, your account paid with tears for your foolishness. Collins covered his face in shame. Laura was not shouting, oh, that was even what made it worse. She simply said, you saw one man's fake life, and then you came home to turn my kitchen into a hotel. Well, who am I? I have to serve my king. Collins could not defend himself. How? How was he going to do that? I mean, the man who taught him royal breakfast was eating okpa in exile. That night, he couldn't sleep like a king. He lay on the bed quietly, staring at the ceiling, while his mind replayed every single thing. Omo, by morning, Collins came out of the room humbly, very, very humbly. He didn't need announcement though. Laura was already in the kitchen, making simple breakfast, bread, tea and egg. No chicken wing, no flour, no napkin, just normal food with peace. Colin stood by the door and cleared his throat. Laura. She turned and answered, yes, my king. Colin scratched his head and said, oh, please don't call me that again. Laura faced him. Why? Has the palace closed? Colin swallowed. The palace has entered debt. Laura laughed, and he moved closer and apologized. I am sorry, my dear. Laura looked at him. I'm not sorry because the breakfast became expensive. Oh. I am sorry because I listened to rubbish outside and came home to make you feel like what you were already doing was not enough. I'm sorry. You have been taking care of this house, and I allowed Lambert's fake life to make me look foolish. Laura kept quiet for a while. Then she said, Collins, I don't have a problem treating you well. You know that. What I have a problem with is you turning our love into competition. Breakfast on the dining table is not disrespect. A wife cooking with care is not insult. And marriage is not cho. It's not anything you hear, you just bring it into our home. You don't do that. It's not Baba shop noise. Oh, Collins nodded like a student who finally understood the topic after failing the assignment. I know, I made a mistake and I am sorry. Please forgive me. Laura nodded and served him his food, though, placing it gently on the dining table. Collins sat down, looked at the bread and tea and egg, like a man seeing freedom for the first time. He ate it joyfully with peace. He even thanked her after every few bites, until Laura asked whether the tea had performed miracle on his head. At the compound tap that morning, Mama Iyabo saw him carrying empty plates to the kitchen and said, "Ah, Collins, has the king abdicated?" Mama Danke laughed. Maybe the throne collapsed after the bit alert. Brother Kalinda added, Lamba should open school, how to suffer privately and brag publicly. Collins did not argue. He raised one hand and said, I have retired from royalty. I beg someone else should take over. That evening, when he went back to the barber shop, the men were already there when Lamba entered with Okpa in one hand and Coke in the other. Immediately he saw them looking, he tried to hide it, but it was too late. The Okpa had already introduced himself, and the barber started laughing. But Akalinda clapped, and Collins looked at Lamba and calmly said, My brother, please, is this one also breakfast in bed? Everybody laughed. And from that day, Collins stopped collecting marriage advice from men whose own homes were missing in action. He learned that before a man demands royal treatment, he should first of all check whether the person teaching him royalty is not drinking Gary behind the camera. And more importantly, he learned that respect in marriage is not about flower on tree. Respect is seeing the efforts your partner is already making and not allowing another person's fake life to make you disgrace your real home. The end. And so, my paddies, we've come to the end of today's story. I hope you enjoyed this one because me self I did. So kindly hit the like button. Make sure you like, okay? And share this video with everybody you know. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Naya and I serve you premium stories only. So you can help support my channel by subscribing and getting me to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. And until I bring another story your way, remember to always be kind to yourself. Ngwanu. Bye.